Hello students, today I am going to discuss on the topic of fatigue of material. What is fatigue? Fatigue is the weakening of a material caused by cyclic loading that results in progressive and localized structural damage and growth of cracks. In engineering and the industry, the materials always get to be faced with various types of operations, such like machining operation, heat treatment, and the mechanical working also. And we often see that for the manufacturers of such like elements of railway bodies, railway parts, the elements or the tools used is like a pneumatic hammer. The hammer, what is the function of the hammer? That is making the drop. It makes the several number of drops over the material and under the action of the force, external force, and the material is red hot. The material gets set into desired shape and size. Then what is fatigue? That is a repetitive load. If uh, that kind of repetitive load is concerned over a body, and as a result of that cyclic load or repetitive load, the material fails under some point of time. This is called the fatigue failure of that material. Actually, it is localized because the fatigue failure takes place during the several number of cycles and millions cycles, such like 10 to the power 1 to 10 to the power 7 cycles. And in our later slide, I always disclose about the parts, about the cycles. And at first, under the action of the cyclic load, the plastic strain takes place inside the material. And whenever these strains, due to the strain and due to the external load, the material fails, is called the fatigue of the material. Due to this condition, the fatigue property of the material should be increased. Such like that, for the case of steel, there is some distinct value of the fatigue limit. And for the case of thermoplastic and some low tensile strength material, there is not the distinct value of the fatigue limit also for the case of material, such like aluminum and copper. These are low strength of the material. Due to the low strength, this does not show a distinct value of the fatigue limit. Fatigue failures occur due to the application of fluctuating stresses that are much lower than the stress required to cause failure during a single application of stress. What is fluctuating stress? Suppose if you hold a celluloid scale on your hand, and if you try to bend it in by applying the moment, or applying the couple to the opposite ends, that is, if you bending in reverse side, one is plus side and minus side. One bending is concave and another bending is convex. This is done by the virtue of the fluctuating stress. If this kind of stress or stresses are applied over a body, and after some time it will be seen that much lower than the stress is required, the failure during a single application of stress, the failure or fatigue failure takes place. Generally, it is happened with the ultimate stress of the material. It has been estimated that fatigue contributes to approximately 90% of all mechanical service failures. It is not only for that piece of cutting tool materials or simple drill bits or anything else, but whenever the vehicles go over the or fly over the bridges, then there is generation of the fluctuating stresses over the components of the bus or the trucks, and for that cases the materials of the automobile vehicles should be made of such components such can or such that it can take that kind of high level of the fatigue stress, because whenever it goes on a bumpy roads with bad impacts like potholes or cars bad impressions over the road, then the jerks are created, and always the magnitude of the fluctuating stresses vary from time to time during the cycle, and during that cycle, under the action of the fluctuating stresses, that limit that limit of the material is reached to a high level such that it can take up that kind of fluctuating stresses and no failure can take place. If the failure is prevented by providing the such element into the material, then the fatigue failure can be prevented. Factors governing fatigue failure. Why fatigue failure takes place? Because the stress concentration. What is stress concentration? Whenever there is sharp edges or corners of a material, if the material of a cross section is reached with a sharp corner, then onto the sharp corner or curves, stress concentration may occur. Actually, the fatigue occurs due to the applied load, fluctuating or repetitive cyclic load, due to the crack initiation and due to the crack developed over the outer surface of the material. It can also initiate into the grain or grain bound bodies, but it has a tendency to make the marks over the outer surface of a material. If a material with such kind of impressions, then there is sudden rise of the value of the stress concentration, and due to this the fatigue failure can take place. Corrosion is a detrimental effect because the presence of the corrosion, the core material is enveloped by the oxide layer, and whenever the external load is applied over a body, then suddenly these layers are broken out by showing the slow progressive deformation, plastic deformation, and the fatigue failure takes place. Temperature. Fatigue failure is oriented to the temperature. It can occur in presence of the temperature. It can occur also with the less role of the temperature. If the temperature role is predominant, the fatigue failure can take place. Such like for the manufacturing process, cold working. For the cold working and the hot working, if there is a abnormal gradient, temperature gradient, and then under the action of the load, the fatigue failure can take place. Overload. Obviously, if the peak value of the material is reached by the external load, then the application of the overload of the material or the overload condition, the failure can take place. Metallurgical structure. Thus, it is the most important, one of the most important criteria. The outer texture of the material comprised of smoothness or roughness or semi-smoothness. If the surface is rough, then the surface texture goes on a bumpy nature, or in the test specimen we can see there is some rise of the valley, and due to the rise of the valley or the texture under the action of the external load, the fatigue failure can take place. Residual stresses. Residual stresses are generally generated due to the machining operation, heat treatment. If the heat treatment process is not the right one, improper technique, cold working, etc. These residual traces inside the material can play a major role to lead to the fatigue failure. Impression and notches. If unwanted impressions or sharp corners or waviness or any notches comes across over the material, then under the action of the load, it plays to the fatigue failure of that material. Fatigue loading conditions. What are they? Fatigue loading conditions are generally two types: isothermal fatigue and anisothermal fatigue. From that name, it is obviously vivid. That is the temperature constant. That is why it is isothermal. Stress or strain. These two parameters are variable according to the material or conditions. And here the temperature is variable and the strain is variable, but stress is constant. Examples of the isothermal fatigue: strain control, that is low cycle fatigue, and stress control, high cycle fatigue. The low cycle fatigue are in the cycle range of 10 to the power 2 to 10 to the power 4 cycles, and generally the mechanical process where the fluctuating stresses or the magnitude of the stresses with the respect to the cycle, that is the cycle period, cycle time actually, where it is beyond the 10 to the power 5, that can be called as HCF, high cycle fatigue. Here the example: thermal control or temperature control, thermal shock fatigue, and thermomechanical fatigue. This is one of the most important factors, how the cyclic loading plays a role on fatigue. You can see this is a zero line, zero, and whenever any component is bent from the neutral axis, at the outer fiber it reaches the tensile force and the inner fiber feels the compressive force. And due to this reason, if one component can be bent in plus direction and minus direction, then it can be called, the plus is the tension side and the minus is compression side, and this is the maximum stress and this is the minimum stress, and the amplitude is here. And for the case of tension to tension loading, as it is tension oriented, obviously it will be situated above this line, and the curve goes like a sinusoidal one. And for this cyclic loading, this is the maximum value and this is the minimum value. And from this figure, if we deduct the maximum, if we make the algebraic differences between the maximum stress and minimum stress, then we can get the amplitude stress over here. And this is the mean stress. The mean stress can be found out by the average of the maximum stress and the minimum stress. This is an example of just the bending of any celluloid scale, thin celluloid scale, in convex wise and concave wise. And this is the variations of the value of the sigma max and the sigma mean. This is an example, such like whenever a car goes over a bridge, and due to the surface irregularities over the bridge and the other factors, these variations can occur due to the variation of the load. This is the SN curve. S means stress and N means number of cycle. The time period, the number of cycle. And obviously, I said that the fatigue is determined by the nature of the repeated loading and the cyclic loading. And this cyclic loading has to cross some period. That period is denoted by the x-axis. This is a period, cycle period, and this is a stress. And as long as if the series of blows over a material can increase, then obviously after some time there will be the weakening of the material, and it will be seen that at some point the stress of that material will gradually lower down, because the application of the cyclic loading is increased, the cycle time is increased, and finally whenever the material is weakened, the fatigue failure will be taken place. This is also the SN curve of steel. This is a low cycle. The period time is 10 to the power 2, and the high cycle zone is generally 10 to the power 2 to 10 to the power 4, and in practical sense, most of the common is whenever the cycle is goes beyond the 10 to the power 5, it can be assumed as a high cycle. But here you can see these zones in termed or assumed to be the high cycle zone, and beyond this it is the infinite life. And if one material can sustain its life during the infinite period, that is the 10 to the power 7 cycles, 10 to the power 7 time of cycles, then the material has a high endurance limit. The endurance limit is adjusted or determined with respect to this infinite life. Endurance limit. It is defined as maximum value of the completely reverse bending stress. What is reverse bending stress? Reverse means one plus side, one is minus side. Whenever you bending in concave, then it goes to the minus side, and whenever it is the convex, it goes to the plus side. That is the due to the plus and minus, that is a reverse bending stress, which a polished standard specimen can withstand without failure for finite number of cycles. So what is it? It is defined as a maximum value of the completely reverse bending stress, which is a polished standard specimen can withstand without failure for infinite number of cycles, usually 10 to the power 6 cycles or more. It is known as endurance or fatigue limit. If the fatigue limit is high, then the material can sustain its service life to the action of the under the action of the external load. The fatigue limit, also known as the endurance limit or fatigue strength, is a stress level below which an infinite number of loading cycles can be applied to a material without causing fatigue failure. Already said that. Fatigue failure. Fatigue failure generally results from the accumulation of fatigue damage. The damage starts by the localization of plastic strain, which may lead to micro crack initiation within grains or in grain boundaries. Whenever the grains boundaries are weakened, then the initiation of the cracks goes on, and it transmits either through grains or grain boundaries according to the material. The growth of the individual microcracks are impeded by the grain boundaries. Obviously, if the grain boundaries are stronger or grains are stronger, then the cracks, the initiation of the micro cracks, which would have been caused into the bigger cracks, that are impeded or can be provided the hindrance of becoming the more and more micro cracks. That is why whenever the grain boundary are larger, that is the number of grain boundaries are increased, then the probability of generations of the micro cracks are decreased, and those are impeded by the grain boundaries. The ability of the micro cracks to pass these obstacles depends on the stacking fault energy of the material. In the materials with high stacking fault energy, the dislocation can easily cross slip and slip planes and pass the obstacles. In materials with high SFE, like pure metals, the micro cracks can easily propagate to form a macro crack. If the SFE is high, then the tendency of the propagation of the macro cracks from the micro cracks increases rapidly. Eventually, this is a cause of the fatigue failure. Now the example how the cracks propagate through the grain boundary. Whenever the external loading, the fluctuating stress or repeated stress or the cyclic stress is increased and the number of cycle is increased under the action of the time, it will be found that the material cannot sustain the external loading. Whenever the weakening of the grain boundaries have been reached, then this kind of phenomenon can occur. You can see how the propagation of the crack, initiation of the crack, then the micro cracks collides with the bigger cracks and propagates in this fashion through the grain boundaries, and thus the fatigue failure occurs over the material. That's the brief of the fatigue of the material.